The gate arm groaned shut, the scanner blinked red, and a young guard smirked. "Ma'am, this ID's older than me." Coffee burned in the booth, sharp and sweet, as Evelyn Hart steadied her chair at the yellow line, a worn wallet balanced on her lap, with the glint of a coin inside. "Morning," she said. "Visitor clearance." The guard tilted the card to the light. "This, ma'am, this is older than me." A second guard leaned in. "Fake as a $3 bill." "Scan it," Evelyn said. Fluorescent hum stitched the cold air. A flag halyard clinked. A Buick idled behind her. The driver leaned forward, curious. "Sure," the first guard said. "For laughs." He passed the ID under the reader. The machine chirped, then stalled. Sir Evelyn said, calm. "I can wait." His eyes fell to the coin. "What's the trinket A reminder?" The booth radio cracked. The second guard thumbed the volume lower. "Visitor center opens at 9, he said. "Try the bulletin board. Pancake flyers fun reading." "Scan the card," Evelyn said. "Please." He laughed quick and bright. "You got manners. Shame the ID doesn't." Under the canopy, a teenager in a base intern lanyard clutched a clipboard. Evelyn met her gaze for a breath, one steady nod, then returned to stillness. "Ma'am," the second guard said, "you can't roll up with props." "It isn't a prop." "Right," he said. "And I'm the general." Evelyn set her palms on the wheels. "You asked for identification. I've presented it." "Look," the first guard said, leaning on the sill. "We're busy, visitor center. Left turn." "Procedure says if it's legible, you scan," Evelyn said. "Procedure says use judgment," he answered. "Mine says this is junk." "Then do your job," she said. "Scan it." The radio hissed again, half a call sign swallowed. The coffee maker clicked. Somewhere beyond the fence, a trainer jet lifted. "Sir," the intern ventured soft. "The handbook." "Not your lane, Maya," he said. "It is if you're skipping steps," she said. Both guards turned. "You new here?" the second asked. "Yes," she said, "and I can read." A man in a sweater vest hummed a choir part in the sedan behind, unaware he'd grown louder. The farmer 2 cars back tapped time on his steering wheel. The coin wobbled where it lay, bright as a porch light at dusk. Evelyn's knuckles tightened, then released. She turned a 1/4 inch to shade her eyes. "I'll wait," she said. "Lady," the second guard said, "I've seen better fakes at Halloween." "Respect isn't granted by laughter," Evelyn said. "It's lived." He rolled his eyes. "Speech day, work day," she said. "Scan the card." "Why push it?" the first guard asked. "You could turn around." "Because listening is part of service," she said. "And this matters." "Service," he said. "You mean customer service?" She held his gaze. "I mean the other kind." The reader chirped again, a long, uncertain warble. "Garbage hardware," he muttered, tapping the casing. "Or a match you don't understand," the intern said. "Enough," the second guard snapped. "We're moving the line." 2 more minutes, Evelyn said. "Scan, then decide." The booth radio rose through the static, a clipped syllable. "Heart. There and gone." The guards pretended not to hear. The coffee machine ticked like a metronome. "Final call," the first guard said, lifting the scanner like a mic. "Last chance." "I'll be here," Evelyn said. He flipped the ID to the light pinched between 2 fingers and grinned for his partner. "Invalid," he said. The mess hall smelled like bacon and floor polish. Trays rattled. The jukebox near the far wall kept a low hum. Evelyn rolled to a corner table where light pooled on laminate. She set her wallet down. The coin's worn edge peeked from its pocket. "Ma'am," Maya said, "lanyard swinging, can I get you coffee, please?" Evelyn said. "Cream, if you've got it." "Is that a unit coin?" Maya asked. "A reminder," Evelyn said. Brad Kinney pushed through with Colton. "Thought we left the circus at the gate," Brad said. "Guess the act does breakfast," Colton said. "Good morning," Evelyn said. "Bold move," Brad said. "Chow line after that performance." "Procedure wasn't finished," Evelyn said. "Finish it." "Let's keep voices gentle," Linda Collins said from the register. "Coffee's fresh." "2 creams," Maya said, setting them down. "And sir, the handbook says you complete the scan." "The handbook also says use judgment," Brad said. "Use it right," Evelyn said. "What's in the wallet besides stories?" Colton asked. "Identification," Evelyn said. "And a reminder." A church couple whispered. The post office carrier dropped coins. The tip jar chimed. The jukebox shifted to a tune like a picnic in July. "You're wasting our time," Brad said. "I'm drinking my coffee," Evelyn said. "You're wasting your own." "Props don't make you a veteran," Colton said. "It isn't a prop," Evelyn said. Brad, Linda said, edging forward, "Maybe we table this." "No," Brad said louder. "Everyone should hear it." "Then hear this," Maya said. "You didn't finish the scan." "Not your lane intern," Brad said. "My name's Maya," she said. "And I can read." Evelyn moved an inch, placing her chair between them. "Talk to me," she said. "Not her." "Fine," Brad said. "Where'd you earn that coin?" "People gave it," Evelyn said. "For work that mattered." "eBay gives them too," Colton said. $15. "Some things aren't bought," Evelyn said. "They're trusted." "Visitor center opens at 9, Brad said. "Pose with the bulletin board. Finish the scan," Evelyn said. "Why push this?" Brad asked. "You could turn around." "Listening is part of service," Evelyn said. "This matters." "Service," Brad said. "Customer service, the other kind," Evelyn said. Maya pulled a pamphlet. "Entry control procedures," she read. "If presented ID is legible." "Put that away," Brad said. "She's right," Evelyn said. "Do your job." "Here's my job," Brad said. "Keeping fakes out." "Then use the tools," Maya said. "The scanner." Kid Colton said sometimes you can tell by feel. "Feel is bias with PR," Maya said. "Scan," Evelyn said. "Please," Linda said. "Brad, trinkets don't change facts," Brad said. "They confirm them," Evelyn said. "When you finish the work." The choir couple leaned in. The post office man folded his arms. The tip jar chimed again as if agreeing. "You know what this is?" Brad said. "A breakfast," Evelyn said. "And a policy." "No," Brad said, smiling for the room. "A fraud." Sir Maya began. "Save it," Brad said. "We hear you," Evelyn said. Brad planted both hands on the table. "This is stolen valor." A refill bell dinged. Linda poured from a steel pot, the stream amber and steady. Outside the mess hall windows, the base flag hung in cold sunlight, stirring just enough to show its edge. A family in travel sweatshirts shuffled past with a map, the child tracing a finger along a dotted line to the museum. The smells, bacon, coffee, bleach, braided with the faint whiff of jet fuel that seemed soaked into the concrete forever. Evelyn breathed once, slow. She kept her hands open on the table, the coin between them, like a small sunrise. Around them, talk lowered, and then returned in cautious ripples, choir practice times a lost package, the weather turning colder. Everyday America pausing to see whether it would mind its business or find its voice. The post office smelled of paper and polish, the kind that clung to envelopes and lingered on hands. Bulletin boards near the entrance carried announcements about pancake breakfasts, choir rehearsals, and yard sales. Evelyn rolled in quietly, her wallet balanced on her lap, the coin hidden inside. "Morning, Ms." Collins said. Hal Drummond, retired sergeant turned clerk, hefting a bundle of letters. His voice was gravel-warm but watchful. He caught sight of Evelyn and paused, eyes narrowing on the faded patch sewn near the pocket of her jacket. "Haven't seen one of those in a while." "It's old," Evelyn said. Her hand brushed the patch unconsciously, then stilled. Hal lowered his voice. "That patch doesn't come from surplus." "You served." Evelyn met his eyes, then looked away. "I stood where I was needed." From the corner, Brad leaned on a counter, arms folded. "She stands nowhere," he said loudly. "She rolls in here with props and stories." His voice carried, and people waiting in line turned to look. Sir Maya said, stepping beside Evelyn, "She has identification. You didn't finish the scan." Brad snorted. "Scan or shred, same result." He held up a hand as if tossing something away. "Trash day." Hal's jaw worked. "Young man, that's no way, Hal." Evelyn interrupted softly, her palm pressed flat against her chair. "It's fine." But it wasn't. Customers whispered. A mail cart clattered, echoing through the hallway. The stamping machine clicked twice, then fell silent, as if waiting for its cue. The patch on Evelyn's jacket glowed faintly under the fluorescent light, a mute testimony. Hal leaned closer. "Tell me plain, ma'am. Did you wear wings with that patch?" Her hand trembled. Then she sighed, the sound small but carrying. "I wore them once," she admitted. Maya's eyes lit with recognition. "I knew it." Brad barked a laugh. "You knew nothing. Old fabric and old lies." He picked up the ID from the counter, flicked it in his fingers like it weighed nothing. "Invalid, then invalid now," careful, Hal warned. Brad grinned. "Careful's for rookies." He held the ID over the trash can. "One toss and the act is over." The room hushed. The postmaster's rubber stamp froze mid-air. Even the hum of the soda machine seemed to fade. Evelyn's hand, halfway raised, dropped to her lap. She didn't speak. She only closed her eyes for a breath, the quiet sigh of someone who had carried doubt before. Hal's voice cut the silence steady. "That badge tells a story, son, and you don't know enough to end it." Brad smirked at the crowd. "Watch me." He tilted the card, poised to let go. The processing office felt like the inside of a filing cabinet. Cool air, fluorescent buzz, citrus-clean counters. An ID scanner sat on a metal podium. A wall clock ticked with metronome patience. Evelyn eased to the counter. Maya hovered with a clipboard. Brad and Colton flanked the door. Linda stood near the sign-in sheet, worrying a pen. Hal waited by the bulletin board, hat under one arm. "Ma'am," Linda said, careful, "if we run this once more, maybe the system—" "Run it properly," Evelyn said. "No shortcuts." Brad folded his arms. "You heard her. One last scan, then we end the play." Maya looked to Evelyn. "May I?" Evelyn lifted the worn coin into her palm. She turned to Maya and set it in the girl's hand. "Hold this," she said, "and listen." "Yes, ma'am," Maya whispered. "Copy," she added. Silence drew tight. Down the hall, a mail cart clattered, then faded. The scanner's small display glowed green. "ID." Colton said, reaching. Gently, Hal murmured, Evelyn set the faded card on the glass. The reader beeped once, twice, and hesitated. Brad grinned for the room. See garbage hardware. Let it finish, Maya said. The display flickered. Letters crawled, a youth, ver. The tone changed higher, sharper, like a kettle crossing from simmer to whistle. Different beep, Hal said. The scanner blinked again. A red banner stamped across the screen, top secret, refer to command. No one spoke. Fluorescents seemed to mute themselves. Outside, a trainer's engine thinned into the sky and was gone. Linda exhaled. Oh. Glitch, Brad said, hunting a smirk. Old system. Systems don't salute. Hal answered. They report. Maya looked to Evelyn. What do we do? Wait, Evelyn said. And listen. The office phone rang once, then again. Linda stared at it. Hal nodded. Answer. She picked up. Processing, yes. Yes, sir. She's here. Her eyes climbed to Evelyn, then to the coin. Understood. She hung up. Command is on the way. The phone rang a third time. Processing office, Linda said, hand shaky. Yes, copy. 3 minutes. She covered the receiver. 3 minutes, she repeated. 3 minutes to what Brad asked. To learn, Hal said. Maya glanced at the clock. Should I log the screen? Leave it, Evelyn said. We don't rewrite truth. Brad laughed, too loud, too late. Sure. Maybe a marching band. Bootsteps approached quick and sure, then slowed at the threshold. The door opened with measured calm. A man in service dress entered, gray at the temples, eyes that had counted storms. He swept the room, guards, manager, mentor, intern, then rested on Evelyn. Hart, he said, the name carried like a password. His voice lowered on the second syllable, memory finding its footing. Evelyn. Maya's breath caught. The coin lay steady in her palm, as if it had been waiting. Sir Brad began, we were just... The man didn't look at him. Captain Hart, he said, the rank turning in the air like a key. You are overdue for a proper welcome, General Evelyn said. He stepped half forward, then stopped, leaving the practiced space between respect and reunion. May I? He asked, nodding to the coin. It's in good hands, Evelyn said. She nodded to Maya. Hers. Maya flushed. Sir. The general's mouth softened. Then we'll borrow those hands. He extended his palm. Maya placed the coin there with ceremonial care. He turned the metal once the way you read a chapter you already know and set it back. Some things do not fade, he said. He faced the scanner and read the banner without surprise. Top secret. Refer to command. He looked at Brad and Colton. You referred. Brad's answer died on the air. Good, the general said. Then listen. He returned the coin to Maya and addressed the room, not loud, not soft, final. The person in front of you has earned more quiet respect than this base hands out in a year. Silence followed, deliberate. Outside, a wind tugged at the flag and left it settled, colors true. Hal nodded once. Heard and understood. Understood, Linda echoed. Sir Colton said, voice smaller, misread it. Then read better, the general said. Yes, sir, Maya said. Yes, sir, had echoed, the bravado gone. Next, the general said, we will complete the check the right way. Brad shifted. Sir, we were trying... You were performing, the general said. Now you will serve. He turned back to Evelyn, voice gentling. Captain Hart, the office stilled air clear as morning. Stand easy. The church hall shared a thin wall with the base community room, and through it came a soft wash of voices, altos and tenors warming a hymn. Folding chairs scraped in rows. A bell rang twice, and then once, here we go. Linda Collins stood at the bulletin board, thumbtacks in one hand, the mess hall tip jar tucked under her elbow like a small green lantern of folded bills. "Thank you for coming," she said. "We'll keep this short and clear." "I found this in the visitor box," Maya said, placing a small envelope on the table. "It's addressed to the flyer lady who kept Dad safe." Evelyn waited near the doorway, quiet as a pew shadow. Hal sat by the hymn book's hat brim level, measuring the room. Brad and Colton stood at the back, hats in hand, eyes low. Coffee lemon cleaner and the faint promise of casserole drifted from the kitchen. First, Linda said the incident is documented. She tapped a form with neat check marks. Second, we have corrections. Ma'am, Brad said, swallowing. "We were wrong." "We made the rules about us," Colton said. "They aren't." "They're about fairness," Linda said. She pinned up a lettered sheet. "Honor verification scan, fully ask quietly, listen first. This is policy now. No public callouts. We verify in private, and we listen first." A murmur rolled approval, braided with relief. On the other side, the choir found its pitch and held it a low hum that steadied hands. "There's more," Maya said, opening the envelope with careful fingers. It reads, "Thank you for keeping Dad safe. He said you watched the sky so he could come home. Love, Grace." "That belongs where people can see it," Hal said. "Folks forget." Evelyn's hand found the wheel rim, then let go. She didn't speak. The room heard her anyway. Captain Hart, Brad said the title, awkward but honest. "I'm sorry." "To your face, no snark." "We asked for retraining," Colton said. "We start next week." "It isn't just retraining," Linda said. "It's accountability. For the next month, you're on greeting duty and veteran outreach after hours. You'll log the conversations." "Yes, ma'am," Brad said. A mail carrier and a windbreaker lifted a hand. "I'll help with the outreach list," he said. "We know who needs a ride." "Thank you," Linda said. "That's the spirit." She turned to the board. "Starting today, we're building a quiet thanks shelf at the visitor center. If a veteran offers a token and consents, we'll display a story card. We'll teach ourselves to look before we laugh." The bell on the table chimed as someone bumped it. The choir rose and settled harmony like a quilt. People leaned in. The tip jar caught the light. "I want Grace's note to be the first card," Maya said. "With a small box for kids to add a star. Ask her mother first." Evelyn said, voice just above the hymn. "It's her story, too." "We will," Linda said. "We'll do it right." Hal fetched a small wooden frame from the lost and found. "Solid corners," he said. "Ready for work." "Permission to post?" Brad asked, glancing at Evelyn. "Post it," she said. "Let it teach." Maya slipped the paper into the frame, paused midair, then looked back at the room. "Before I pin this," she said, "we need 2 promises." "Name them," Hal said. "1," Maya said. "We stop public call-outs in the chow line. If there's a question, we step aside and lower our voices." "Done," Linda said. She wrote beneath the policy, "No public call-outs." 2, Maya said, "We start telling the stories that are ours to tell with consent. Kids need places to learn respect without being shoved." "Put the shelf by the door," a man in church clothes said. "Folks will read coming and going." Next to the bulletin board, Linda agreed. "Under the warm light." Brad cleared his throat. "If you're angry," he said, "you're right. Be angry at my pride, not her past. Evelyn pressed her palms to her wheels once, then settled. On the other side, the choir tried a gentle descant. The wall hummed with it like aircraft harmonics you feel more than hear. We'll match the first gifts from the jar, Linda said. First overtime goes in, Colton said. I'll add a stamp book, the mail carrier said. Folks can write to veterans and families. I've got a casserole pan and Thursday hands, a grandmother said from the aisle. Maya lifted the frame again. Okay, she said softly. Let's begin. She pressed the frame to the cork and set the first tack. The wood clicked. The second tack went in lower corner square. The choir began the hymn proper, steady, sure, like runway lights coming alive one by one in the dusk. The room took a collective breath. You could feel it before the first line. Before we close, Linda said, tapping the policy with her pen, remember? Scan fully asked quietly. Listen first. And write it down, Hal said. If it isn't written, we forget. We could add a ledger at the shelf, Brad said. Visitors can sign. A simple line, Maya said. Who we thanked, what we learned. Simple lasts, Evelyn said. The bell rang. Someone coughed. A chair squeaked in time with the note through the wall. People reached for coats and folded programs, the little choreography of community. Maya stood still for a heartbeat, the kind of stillness a good idea makes. She looked at the tip jar, the empty space on the board, Brad and Colton and Linda and Hal, and finally Evelyn. I have one more idea, she said. A fund. Small at first. A scholarship for base interns who choose veteran service careers. Name it, Hal said. The Quiet Thanks Fund, Maya said. I'll start it with my next paycheck. Then we'll match, Linda said, holding up the jar. First overtime, Brad said. Count it. Count me in, Colton said. The choir's final chord trembled through the wall and lingered like a held breath. Maya set the frame straight with one last touch, then folded her hands on the table as if bracing for a takeoff that begins with paperwork. Let's begin, she said. Neighbors nodded. Dusk draped the street in soft flannel. The porch swing creaked on its chains, while a table radio gave out a thread of static, then caught an old hymn station. Evelyn sat still, the silver coin balanced between her palms. Across the block, the church choir was packing up their last notes, humming into the warm air. Wind's turning, Hal said, climbing the steps with 2 paper cups. Decaf. Doctor says no, but I never listen when I've got company. I'll take the orders and the company, Evelyn said. He sat beside her. For a while they let the night make its sounds, screen doors, the chain of a passing bicycle, a dog shaking once, then settling. The radio slipped quiet. You'll come tomorrow, Hal asked. I'll come to the quiet, she said. Unveilings spook me. Then we'll call it a setting out. Better name, she said. She turned the coin once, then stilled it. There's always the thing itself, she said, and the story we tie to it. There is, Hal said. If they forget the difference, she added, they'll put a frame where a person should be. They didn't tonight. Maya didn't. Evelyn said. You gave her the weight, Hal said. She carried it uphill. Brad and Colton, she asked. Reassigned. Greeting duty. Outreach calls. A month to learn ears. Fair, she said. They started with an apology, he said. Shortest road to fine. Evelyn reached to the radio, turned it off, and left the hush in place. Porch swing creaked once more, and both listened to it like a clock. Tomorrow, Hal said, the shelf goes up. Tomorrow, she agreed. Short walk, she added. Morning brought polish and pine. By 10, the visitor center smelled of fresh boards. A narrow shelf waited under the bulletin board. Linda pinned a small sign, "Quiet Thanks." Maya carried the coin case, the faded patch, and Grace's framed note as if they were crown jewels. "Grace's note goes center," she said. "Eye level for kids." "Solid hooks," Hal said, testing with his thumb. "Good," Linda said. Evelyn entered quietly and stayed near the corner out of the glass's reflection. The guards stood near the door, plainclothes greeting with softened voices. Brad stepped across the room. "Captain," he said, "we've logged 30 apologies. Number 31 is mine." "Logged, accepted," Evelyn said. "May I help?" Brad asked. "Ask Maya," she said. "She's duty officer today." "You can hand me tax," Maya said. 2 brass, not 3. "Yes, ma'am," Brad said, and meant it. Neighbors trickled in, veterans, the mail carrier, a grandmother with a towel-wrapped pan. Someone hummed one bar of last night's hymn before catching herself and smiling. "Set," Linda said. Maya lifted Grace's note. Hal's frame kept the corners straight. Brad counted out the tacks. Colton steadied the edge with 2 fingers. The metal clicks sounded like nails fixing memory to wood. "Patch to the left," Maya said. "Let the threads show." "Stitches tell the miles," Hal said. "Coin case on the right." "Closed but label clear." Evelyn folded her hands on her lap and watched. "No speeches," Linda said. "Just practice." "What practice?" the grandmother asked. Looking before laughing, Linda said. Listening before guessing. Hal opened a thin ledger. First line, "Who we thanked, what we learned." "Write yours," Maya told Brad. He bent. "I thanked Captain Hart." He read aloud, "and learned respect begins with quiet." Colton leaned over. "I thanked Ms. Collins and learned rules are for fairness." "Simple lasts," Hal said. Maya turned the shelf so the little crowd could see it clearly. The room hushed as if someone had dimmed the lights. "We're done," Linda whispered. "We're begun," Maya said. Evelyn rolled forward a foot. The coin in its case looked smaller than in her palm. The patch seemed braver, relieved to belong to a larger story. Grace's careful letters held the center like a candle. Brad cleared his throat. "Captain," he asked softly, "would you like to say Mo?" Evelyn said. "I don't need a front row seat." Maya took the pen and wrote under the guard's entries. "I thanked Captain Hart. I learned quiet is a kind of service." She placed the pen back. Permission to close. Evelyn's gaze moved across the patch, the note, the coin. She gave a single nod. "Close," she said, "and keep it open." The door eased wide. A father and daughter came in. "Can we look?" the girl asked. She tugged his sleeve. "Please." He leaned to read Grace's words. "Thank you for keeping Dad safe." She pressed a star sticker into the corner of the frame, standing on her toes to see it shine. "Write a line," Maya asked. "Okay," the girl said. Slowly she wrote, "I thanked the flyer lady. I learned to look first." Her father added, "I thanked the guards. I learned to listen." She didn't touch the glass. "Leave it there," she said. She didn't reach for the case. Evelyn spoke once more. "Respect is proven, not demanded." The sentence settled like a final chord. People drew closer around the shelf, but did not cross an unseen rope. They watched the coin, the patch, the note, and themselves reflected back. The hush thickened, until even the porch swing outside seemed to match it, creaking once, then resting. Neighbors stood in silence, still as Sunday. The porch swing moved once in the dusk, and the radio's static faded beneath the choir's hum from across the street. A hand rested quietly on the ledger page beside the new shelf, where the coin, the patch, and Grace's note shone under the amber light, like small proof against forgetting. Kindness freely given works unseen like a lamp in a winter window that steadies strangers on their way, and the town has learned not to mistake silence for weakness nor appearance for truth. The ledger is open tonight, a child's star sticker already pressed into its corner, and each name written there becomes part of the story still being lived. Respect is proven, not demanded.